Hey, good evening everyone. Thank you for joining me. My last video was a time lapse of me creating this, so I decided, why don't I show you all how I created it. This is my first time doing something like this. The way I'm going to do it is, I hate those videos that do the, what's it called, the breakdown of the graph. As you can see, it's not really a complex graph, but I don't want to break it down. So instead, I'm just going to create a new graph over here and just name it GreyRock tutorial. I have my own template, don't need to worry about that. Here's the outputs I use. So let's just hit it. Now what I'm going to do though is I'm going to open this one again, pin it on the top, and then open my new graph and take the old one here, and I'm going to move it to off screen to my other screen and just reference this. So let's start with how I have this set up. This is my own template. You can do it any way you want. There's other tutorials on more complex ways. This is how I like to do it. So what I do is I always have a normal. I always set this to 10 and then plug it into normal. There's the height. Ambient occlusion, I have it set to these settings. The height depth 0.01, radius 1, 8 samples, you can put it to 16. I don't turn on the GPU optimization. I just put in a uniform gray in color, and I do the same for the metallic and the roughness. So before I start anything, I always go to material, default, the definitions, go here, go to tessellation. I already did it, but I always put the stuff, I usually start about 5 on the scale, and it's ready to go. Oh, and I don't usually use the round cylinder. I was just doing that so you can see the material better. I usually use rounded cube. Then I go to environment maps, and I just throw in Studio 5 for just a basic, white and black background, because to me this just kind of muddies what I'm doing. I want to see what it looks like with just lighting. Then I go back to generators. What I started off with first is a black and white spots 1 and a, what is it, clouds 2. I don't know why I have 2 clouds. I think one is different than the other, but alright. Then off of the black spots 1, I did a blur QH grayscale. I like using this. I had it set to 10. Oh wait. Alright, I apologize for that. I had a bit of a brain fart. So what I did was I added the blur HQ grayscale. I added 2 of them. And then I blended them. Oops, like this. And I set it to multiply. Then I added a slope blur. Set it to 3.4. Samples all the way up. Oh, and then I also had it set to min. So, there you go. Now, again, you don't have to follow me 100%. You can change it up. Also, before I forget, you could download this entire graph that I've already made. The first one on my Gumroad, link down below. Now, I'm just going to, because I like to preview what I'm doing in 3D, plug everything in over here. And there you go. So next, after the slope blur grayscale, add a levels, and another blur, at a 0.5 over here, high quality. Then a slope, slope grayscale. Oh, and with that level, just bring everything over. If you're wondering why this is changing, is I'm going back and forth because I have bad memory and I don't remember everything, and I don't really have good notes. I'll just bring this over here, and this one was all the way over here. 0.2, and set it to keep it on blur. Oh, missed something. Let's bring this up. There you go. Oh yeah, bring up the samples, of course. And then just drag this all off to the side. And if you just bring this over here for now. To move it, you just shift click. Select everything, space, F, frame. I like to call this just base 1. And then for this, this one right here, do the same thing. Frame. It just keeps everything organized. This is specifically just the normal, so base 1 normal. Then, for the other, going back to the other graph, the way I have everything set up is I have another graph base, or another node sequence for the height, because it's different than the normal. And the way I did that was I created a level, so I'm just copy it, it will keep all the same. Yep. Just match this up right here. Yep. Now this normal here is important, and I'll show you, or levels, not normal, is important for the height and everything, but I'll show you that a little bit later. It also controls how beat up your rock is going to be, or concrete, whichever way you want to use it. Then get a directional warp. Slope grayscale. Just bring this over. A crease. Connect this into your directional warp. Now plug this into your slope grayscale and into your directional warp, and in here. And then you can just play around with your directional warp. I'm just going to use what I had last time. So 2.5 for this one, bring up all the samples. Blur as well. Oh yeah, and slightly different for some reason than what this used to look like. Alright, I figured it out. I just gonna fast forward through everything. The reason why everything's messed up was this needs to go over here. I was not paying attention. I apologize. Let's continue. Okay, so now you'll get this look. I am really sorry about my brain fart there again. Let's keep that from happening again. So bring this back to, let's put this at 3. Alright, then a blur over here, blur HQ grayscale, quality up, 0.5, I'm just gonna copy, or not, just bring over another levels, See, I wish I could have this open over there too, but actually I might be able to. Let's see. Pin. Oh wow. Okay, I could have done that from the beginning. Alright. So, let's double click these levels so I can see what they are. Plug in the levels. Oops. Bring up the black a little, and by doing this you can get bring up the black, how much black it actually has. So just bring that up a little. Then another slope grayscale. Moving my mic out of the way just a little. Slope grayscale. And then what I used next was a Christus 2. So, next thing you need to do, if you're following along, 1.4, bring up the samples, keep it on blur, then another slope grayscale. I'm just going to copy and bring it over here because I was on it. Set the intensity to 4, 32, mode max, and then another clouds 2. Now, I like just dragging in another clouds 2. Some people say to use the same clouds 2, but I find this a little bit cleaner. This is the way I like to do it. Don't have to if you don't want to. Now, let's plug this into our height so I can show you what I'm doing, because this is specifically for the height map. So then, oops, grab this off, drag it over. Now we're still not 100% done, but as you can see, the height map is different than the normal. There's a reason for that, and you'll see it in a little bit. Then after this slope grayscale, another blur, of course, QH grayscale. This one is 0.1. Quality up. There you go. Then, now this is a little bit of a tricky one, because there's something I want to do here. But I'm going to skip it just for now and show you. So I'm going to take this and plug it into the height. And then I'm going to come over here to this normal, bring it back. And I'm going to this is a... Oh, okay. So I'll take this normal. I'm going to put in another normal. Set this one to 10 again. Then I'm going to bring in a normal. A normal blend. Please excuse the noises in the background. Then plug this normal on the bottom, our original normal on the top, and take this normal and connect it to our height, and it will blend the two together. So this was our original normal. This is the height normal. Then it blended the two together. Well, it should be. Let's see. Did I do this backwards? Oh, I know why. Yeah, no, it is blending them together. Don't worry. I went a little too far ahead. Okay, so then take this normal and just replace everything that uses it. Okay, so you see it changed a little. Now, I know why I was confused. So let me show you why I was confused. So if I take these that are specifically just for the height map, and then add a blend here, and then a dirt 1, on top, excuse me, and then connect everything to it. And I usually subtract. Okay, so this is horrible, bad, that's not good. Switch this to subtract, still not good. 0.01, it adds a little bit of the dirt on top. Very hard to see. Let's bring this to 0.1 for now. I originally use 0.01, so let's, in the new one, put 0.05. Yeah, it's a little bit more beat up, but so you can see it just for now. So now you have this and the normal blend. You blend the two normals. Again, a little too much, but I want to be able to see it, because what I'm going to do is take this grayscale, the blur grayscale, and do a histogram scan. I like that. Histogram scan. Plug it in. Just bring up the position a little. Bring up the contrast all the way. And if I plug this into the opacity, as you can see, it only does it there, but you get this really hard edge. I don't like that. I want a little bit of a softer edge, so what I'm going to do is add a blur, HQ grayscale, bring up the quality, and just set this to like 0.5 or maybe like 1. And I'm going to bring this down, the position, just a little, because this is a little too much. What I'm wanting it to do is just cover up the highest parts with the bumps. So just kind of eyeballing it, bring this down a little. So about like right there. Now as you can see, if we go to the normal blend, it added that. But then we don't have the little dots there. So let's just bring this blend down to like 0.02. And then let's put all of these up over here. Move everything back. And frame this over here. I'll just call this base 1 height. I probably misspelled height. Yeah, I misspelled height. I apologize. Another brain fart. Happening way too much today. Okay. Now, I want this here to be doing the AO, so what I'm going to do is normal to height, plug that in, just kind of do what I did last time, 0.007. You don't have to follow me directly, but so do this, plug it into the ambient occlusion, and I believe I brought the ambient occlusion to like 0.008. Bring it up just a little bit more. Oh, too many zeros. 0.008. So there you go. Looks a lot better than the way it was when it was connected. Like if I just connect this over here, I like it like this. Again, I can also just bring this up just a little bit more if I wanted to. There you go. Alright. Now, you're probably wondering from the beginning why I have these curvature smooths. Well, using this as reference for, let's start with the metallic. If I make the metallic really white, it's metal. Less metal. So, I know that most people, you can just put, a solid color like this for block and such, and it's fine. But I don't really like that. So I like plugging the curvature smooth in, but this is not that good. So then I always add a levels, and then kind of bring up the black on it, because I don't want it really like metal, and then I bring down the white a little, so it's not... Oh, there we go. So bring down the white a little so it's not so black. Okay, and then I kind of do the same thing, but instead of it being black, more white. So do levels, bring down up the white a little. Oh, and then I invert it as well. Sorry, my headphones came unplugged, so I invert it a little. Well, I invert it, bring up the white, then bring up the white over here. There we go. Now, if I wanted to, I can add more to it here with some blends and such, but I think this is fine. I like keeping these here for reference. So I think this is pretty good. Let's move it over to the round cylinder. Look at it. Really cool material. Now that levels I was telling you is important. Let me show you why. So if I go to these levels, and let's just use the normal here so you can see it. If I go to these levels and I start bringing up the white, see how it changes it? It makes it all beat up. So you can expose this and change it any way you want. If I bring up the black, makes it deeper. The middle one, deeper. And if I just bring this all the way down, like so, now you kind of have a beat up concrete. For now, let's just bring this up just a little. So this here controls how beat up your rock, concrete, whatever you want it to be is going to be. For now, I'm just going to leave it as it is and move on to the next step, which would be the color. So I'm just going to take all these, move them down just a little, bring this here. So I'm going to go to the base one normal. I'm going to put a blend. It's hard to see. Put the blend in the opacity. Then I'm just going to take my original colors here with the frame. I mean, they're uniform colors. You can create these very easily. Hoping it will not bring the color. Oops. So it did not bring the color. Well, it doesn't matter. Let me just reset the default. Reset the default. And so this is the top color. I go by numbers. It's the way I like to do it. I had them exposed. That's the reason why. But anyway, the bottom color, I want to go for something like this. So I'm just going to color pick it. Top color a little bit grayer and darker because these are gray. If I plug these into base color here, there, boom, we're done. Now just play it. What's next is here, add another blend, and we're going to get a little bit more complicated. So I'm just going to paste here, bottom color 2, plug it in. I'm going to go here, reset the default. I'll pick, just so you can see what I'm doing, I'll make it red. And then, for this one, I want to go to the slope blur before here, connect it into the opacity. Oh, not that opacity. Making sure it's the correct one. Yep. Connect it into the opacity. So it's not doing the bottom and it's not doing what I want it to do. So next thing is I'm going to just bring it over because this makes it easier. It's a histogram scan in the blend, and I'll just show you what I did. So with the histogram scan, I exposed the parameters. So yeah, let's reset these. And the blend, I kept on subtract. What I want to do is take the background, plug this into the background, and plug this into here, then plug this in here, and then with the histogram scan, bring up the position, just so it kind of covers up the bottom only, because if I keep bringing it up, or keep bringing it down, it'll do everything. So if you look over here, using the subtract, I have a bit of control, and it's taking the information from here. So let's bring up the position, bring down the position to like that. Bring up the contrast a little, or bring down the contrast actually. And there you go. So then instead of this red, let's go with a dark color like that. So pick it. Cool. Now what you could do, I didn't do it last time, but I think it's a good idea. It's right here. Add a blur. Sorry about my phone going off. Bring up the quality and just make this very small, like 0.5. It's not as strong. And the cool thing is, again, if you go over here and just keep changing this normal, it will change everything up. Again, and it'll change the color as well. Alright, but we're still not 100% done. Take another blend. And now this is the top color too, just to add a little bit more to it. And you can keep doing this process over and over again. It's just the way I like to do it. Just these 4 is pretty good. I'm going to give this another red so you can see what it's doing. Plug it in on top. Now for this one, go back to your normal and plug it in over here, but we're still not 100% done. I'm going to just copy what I have over here and then I'll show you what I did. So what I added was an ambient occlusion with a depth of 0.01, radius 1, 8 samples. Again, you can bring that up. I probably should in a minute. And then another histogram scan. And I had this stuff, the parameters exposed because I want to be able to control them when I'm with an engine. Using this histogram scan, I can kind of try and just get the top right here, so 0.01, then plug it in, and it adds the highest point based on the ambient, which for this one I should, that's fine. Oops. 0.005, let's put it at that. So it adds a little bit of a broken up, but instead of red, of course, we're going to go for like a grayish. So I'm just going to use the old gray here. And don't have to. Broke it up a little. So if you look at it's kind of subtle, but it helps. Looks like sunspots. And for this material, I'm finding this dark is a little too dark, so let's bring it up a little. And there you go. But I'm still not done. So I'm going to take this ambient occlusion going to take another blend, put this uniform away, take this ambient occlusion and plug it on top here, and then it's not going to work until I turn it into a gradient scale. And then here I'm going to give it a multiply, so it's multiplying the shadows on top of the color. I'm just going to bring it down a little. So you can kind of see it adds to it. I'm just going to bring this down just a little. There you go. And then here, I always like to add at the end an HSL, so you can change the saturation and so on and so forth in Engine by exposing the parameters. And that's pretty much how I do the base color. And this is it. Sorry, trying to click this. So there's the material for GreyRock. Again, I'm just showing you how I made it. There's a few things that need to be changed now that I'm looking at this. Instead of 0.02, I put a 0.001, so it's not as subtle. Maybe even 0.005. So again, it's not as, so it's just subtle. Turn the levels a little bit higher, so it's a little bit more beat up. And there you go. Please give me a like or subscribe if you found this helpful. Leave me a comment down below. I love reading those comments. Thank you for watching. Sorry that this, was a little not as intuitive and as fast as I wish it was, and I'm sorry that I had a bit of brain freeze and such, brain farts and such. This is my first time doing this, but I think I'm going to start doing this more often. Please leave down below any suggestions or any materials you think I should create. And again, you can download this material down below in the link. I'll just bring it over here. So you can download the flat one or the really rough one. Oh, they're not gonna, oh, there we go. Which look a little bit better than the one I made now, in my opinion. But yeah. Thank you and have a nice day.